Hey there, and welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really going to get into it with advanced IoT. And this is something that seems like, even if you're on top of tech stuff, it's moving so fast, it's hard to keep up.
I think that's true. The rate of change is just incredible.
I know. And it feels like we're way past that point of, okay, what is the Internet of Things? Like, we get it, smart fridge, fitness tracker, you've got your wearable. Today is about, okay, what comes next? We're talking, like, systems so smart, they make regular smart devices look basic. And you sent over some really fascinating research on this. Are you ready to dig into it?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so the source uses this term, advanced IoT. They keep saying, but what actually makes it so advanced? What's the difference? It's got to be more than just like super fast Wi-Fi, right?
Well, yeah, it's way more than that. It's like, think of it like this. Regular IoT is like you're just collecting the ingredients, but advanced IoT, you're actually like whipping up this gourmet meal. You're using AI and machine learning not just to gather the data, but to actually understand it, use it, act on it.
So not just my fridge knowing I'm low on milk, it's my fridge ordering more before I even realize.
Precisely. And even that, I mean, that's a very basic example. Imagine like a whole network of sensors on a wind turbine that are analyzing weather patterns, and then they could adjust the blade angles like in real time to optimize the energy production. So we're talking about like next level efficiency, sustainability.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Real world impact, not just like a cool gadget. But to get that kind of responsiveness, that takes some serious speed, right? Like these devices have got to be talking to each other insanely fast.
You're absolutely right. And that's really where 5G comes in. Because, it's not just about faster download speeds for like, your phone. It's about this near instant communication between all these intelligent systems.
So 5G is like the high-speed highway that lets all this actually work.
Exactly. Without it, advanced IoT can't really reach its full potential.
Okay, so we've got the brains with AI and the speed with 5G. What else makes this different from the IoT we're seeing like out in the world right now?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest things is edge computing.
Edge computing, okay.
Yeah, and in a nutshell, it basically means processing data locally, like on the device itself, instead of sending everything to the cloud, processing it, sending it back.
So instead of my smart speaker sending a request to like a giant data center every time I ask it to play a song.
Exactly. It can handle some of that processing right there, right on the device. This is, it's huge for speed, for efficiency, especially with those real-time things. Plus, big implications for security and privacy, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how these pieces all sort of fit together now, but let's like bring this down to earth a little bit. How will this impact our everyday lives? Give me an example of advanced IoT in action, say, 5 years from now.
Okay, get ready because we're about to step into like the city of the future. So imagine a city where traffic lights, they adapt in real time to optimize the flow of traffic. Sensors are monitoring air quality, and if there's like a spike in pollution, boom, alerts go out. Even like your trash cans are signaling when they're full, so you have way more efficient waste collection.
Yeah. Okay, that's a pretty impressive picture. But as amazing as all this sounds, there've got to be some downsides, right? It can't all be like smooth sailing and flying cars.
Right.
What are some of the risks we need to be thinking about with all this?
Well, I think that's the key, right? Balancing the excitement with a little bit of caution. And, this source definitely doesn't shy away from the challenges. I'd say one of the biggest ones is security. Because if you have billions, maybe even trillions of devices all connected to the internet, you're talking about a massive increase in potential cyber attacks.
It's almost like we're like building this amazing house, but we haven't figured out the locks on the doors yet,
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And the stakes are high here.
Yeah.
Because we're not just talking about someone hacking into your smart fridge and like messing with your grocery list. We're talking about vulnerabilities in like power grids, transportation systems, things that really impact our lives.
Okay, now that you say it like that, it's a little bit unnerving. So what do we do? Are we just like hoping for the best here?
No, not at all. There are a lot of really smart people working on this. And one of the things that, I've seen a lot about it is using blockchain technology.
Blockchain. Okay. I feel like that's one of those words, I hear it everywhere, but I'm still not 100% sure I get it. How would that even work for something like this?
Yeah, so blockchain, think of it like it's basically a digital ledger, right? But it's incredibly secure, like virtually tamper-proof. So by its very nature, it's really, really hard for hackers to like change the data or corrupt it. So imagine using blockchain to create these super secure communication channels between devices. It'd be really, really difficult to hack into that.
Okay, so it's like putting all of the information on this like super secure, decentralized network that's really hard to break into.
That's a good way to think about it. But, security is just one piece of the puzzle here, right?
Yeah.
Because this source also brings up, there are some serious questions about data privacy with all of this. Because think about it. You've got all these sensors, and they're collecting data on, like, practically everything we do. How do we make sure that information is used responsibly, ethically?
Right. Like, it's all fun and games until your, like, toothbrush is sending data about your brushing habits to some random company. It's kind of creepy if you think about it too much.
Yeah, and I think that's, there's a balance, right? We have to be really, really aware of the potential for misuse here. The source really stresses that we need more transparency. You should be able to know, okay, what data are my devices even collecting? What are they doing with it? Can I opt out if I want to?
That all sounds good in theory, but is that realistic? I mean, the systems are so complex already.
It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But I think, there's a growing movement, right, toward more data privacy regulation, ethical frameworks for how AI is developed. It's about shifting that mindset from let's just collect everything we can to let's be more mindful, let's collect what's necessary, let's be upfront about it.
So it sounds like advanced IoT, it's not just about the technology itself. It's like we've got to figure out all these other really complex, ethical questions, societal questions at the same time.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. It's not just about the how, it's the why and the what if, right? And speaking of what if, this source goes into some really specific real-world applications that I thought were pretty mind-blowing. They go way beyond the usual stuff you hear about.
Okay, yeah, hit me with it. Give me the I can't believe that's even possible example.
Well, let's talk about healthcare. Because, imagine a world where chronic diseases can be managed much more effectively, not just in, sterile hospital rooms, but from people's homes.
Now, that would be a game changer, but how would that even work?
So think about remote patient monitoring, right? We're talking wearable sensors. They're tracking your vital signs, your medication. Are you taking it? How are you sleeping? Things like blood sugar levels, all of that. Getting sent in real time to doctors who can monitor patients remotely and then step in if they need to.
It's like having like a virtual guardian angel kind of just watching over your health 24/7. That's kind of wild.
It is. And it's not even just about monitoring. Imagine AI-powered tools that are analyzing all that patient data, and they're so good, they can spot these subtle patterns that humans might miss, Like imagine catching something like cancer way, way earlier when it's treatable.
Oh, wow. Yeah, early detection is everything with that. This is sounding less like some sci-fi movie and more like this is actually going to be healthcare, isn't it?
It is. It's already starting to happen. And that's not even we haven't even scratched the surface of what this could do for healthcare. Robotic surgery, personalized medicine, mental health support. The possibilities are really pretty incredible when you start to think about it.
Okay, I get it. I get why everyone's so excited about the potential here. But, I always think, with every positive, there's got to be, the flip side, right? What about the downsides of all this healthcare tech?
You're absolutely right to ask that because there are definitely some things to think about. One potential problem is that it could widen the gap between people who have access to this amazing technology and those who don't.
Oh, yeah. So almost like any new technology, you got to make sure it's benefiting everybody and not just making that divide even bigger.
Exactly. And, it's not just about cost. There are ethical questions about data privacy. What about informed consent? And then there's even, the potential for bias in the algorithms themselves. There's a lot to unpack there to make sure it's implemented fairly.
It really does seem like a constant balancing act with this stuff. The potential is amazing, but so much to be cautious about, too.
Absolutely. But isn't that kind of the, the story of progress in a way? We keep learning, we keep adapting and trying to do better.
And speaking of progress, shall we switch gears from healthcare a little bit and talk about another industry that's getting a big makeover thanks to advanced IoT? Yeah. What else you got? What else is getting the smart treatment? Manufacturing, huh? Okay. I gotta be honest, that doesn't sound quite as, futuristic and sci-fi as, AI doctors in smart cities, but I'm sure you're about to blow my mind here.
Oh, just you wait. Because we're talking about the rise of the smart factory. Imagine a factory where the machines aren't just tools. They're kind of active participants in the whole process.
Okay. How do you going to do that?
Sensors, basically. Like everywhere.
Yeah.
Embedded all over the factory floor. They're gathering data on everything you can think of, how much raw material we're using, how's the equipment performing, and it's all happening in real time.
So it's like giving the factory a nervous system almost, so it can actually feel how everything's running?
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. And all that data isn't just like sitting there. It's being analyzed constantly by these AI algorithms. And get this, they can actually start to like predict problems before they happen.
Wait, hold on. Predict problems? So you're telling me these factories can practically run themselves?
Well, not quite run themselves, but it's more like they give the human workers these incredible new superpowers, Like imagine a technician, they've got this augmented reality headset on, and they're looking at a piece of equipment, but they're not just seeing the machine, they're seeing real-time performance data, like overlaid on top of it.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. The future is now stuff right there. So we've got smart factories, AI, healthcare, self-driving cars. Is there anything that's not going to get transformed by advanced IoT?
It's hard to think of anything, honestly. Even something as, like old school as agriculture is being completely revolutionized by this stuff. Remember those sensors we were talking about in the factories? Imagine those spread out over an entire farm.
Okay. What are they even measuring on a farm?
Everything. Soil conditions, how much moisture's in the soil, are the plants getting enough water, even down to like the health of individual plants. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, now that, to me, that sounds like something out of Star Trek. Like, how are farmers even keeping up with all that information? It'd be overwhelming.
See, and that's where the AI comes in again. Because it can take all that data, I mean, we're talking massive amounts of data, and turning it into something that's actually useful for the farmer. When to irrigate, when to fertilize, how to get the best possible crop yields, all while using less resources, less water, being better for the environment.
So it's not just about making our lives easier or more efficient. It's like, it could actually help us solve some pretty huge problems like climate change, food shortages.
Exactly. And I think that's the really exciting part. Advanced IoT has the potential to make the world a better place, a more sustainable place, a more equitable place. But, and this is a big but, only if we're really smart about how we use it.
There's that word again. Smart. We got to be smart about the smart stuff.
Right. It's not enough to just invent this technology. We have to be really thoughtful about how we use it. What are the consequences? What are the risks?
Yeah, that's definitely been a theme this whole time. It's like, the potential is huge, but we really got to be careful, too. It's a lot of responsibility, not just on the people creating it, but on all of us, really.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
The future of advanced IoT, it's not something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we're all creating together right now through the choices that we're making.
Wow. Okay, that's a pretty profound thought to end on. This has been incredible, by the way. Thank you so much for really taking a deep dive with us today on advanced IoT.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
It has. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the nitty-gritty tech stuff to what this actually means for our lives, and even a few glimpses of the future. It's a lot to process, but the main thing is stay curious, keep learning, and whatever you do, don't ignore what's coming next, because the future of advanced IoT is closer than you think.